Good Tuesday afternoon. Welcome to the I Love CVille show. My name is Jerry Miller. It's good to be with you. Thank you for joining us. We're live in Charlottesville, the Commonwealth, the country, and the world on the I Love CVille network. A lot of news to get to, including UNC already going virtual. That did not last long. COVID outbreaks in Chapel Hill caused the school to go from in-person to virtual with its education. We'll analyze that. We'll show you on Facebook an amazing headline from the Daily Tar Heel, the local independent newspaper that covers the University of North Carolina. What an awesome headline. We have a new restaurant partnership that's starting, guys, at Devil's Backbone with Bluegrass Grill. We have that story for you on the I Love CVille show. We have Stein Mart, one of the big box stores, guys. It has a location in Charlottesville. Stein Mart is closing all its locations across the country, including the one on Route 29. Speaking of Route 29, Starbucks just got its drive-thru in Shoppers World approved. So now a drive-thru going to be added to the drive-thru into the Starbucks location on Route 29. We're going to assess the value of drive-thrus on the I Love CVille show. Here's an interesting tidbit for you. The restaurants that are having the most success in a COVID-19 landscape all have drive-thrus. Where do you see the lines when you're going to food places across Charlottesville? You see them at Starbucks. How about that Starbucks on Pantops? You see them at Chick-fil-A's. I mean, the Chick-fil-A's are constantly busy. They have 2 lines in their drive-thrus and an attendant working at Chick-fil-A. You see them at Panera Bread. Panera Bread often very busy. So how about Bodo's for a local one? We'll assess the value of drive-thrus in a COVID-19 landscape here on the I Love CVille show. Guys, if you're watching here on Facebook, you'll see a tripod right in front of me, and in fact, I'm connecting with folks right now on I Love CVille Instagram. Welcome, guys, to our Instagram Live. Thank you kindly for joining us. JW, Judah Wickhauer, is the fabulous director of the show. We're grateful for him. Judah, why don't we give some love to Interstate Pest and Service Companies, a home's best friend. This is a 4-generation strong business. We're very proud to have Interstate Pest and Service Companies as part of this program. If you need anything home-related, Interstate Pest and Service Companies, a home's best friend. Let's run headlines. Here's the first one for you here, Instagram, and it comes from North Carolina. JW, Judah Wickhauer, let's get the headline on screen. UNC Reverses Course, and it's on screen now. Look, Facebook, if you're watching there. Instagram, if you're watching, it's behind me. UNC reverses plans for in-person classes after 130 students test positive for COVID-19. Here's what it really comes down to. And I'm going to ask you this, Instagram. I'm going to ask you this, Facebook. We'll get LinkedIn and Twitter added to the mix here later in the week. I'm going to ask you this question. What was UNC, didn't they see this coming? Dorms are not a place where you can social distance. How do you social distance at a dorm? Few of these clusters and outbreaks that happen in Chapel Hill directly tied to dorms. One of them tied to a fraternity house, one of them tied to an apartment complex. So the question we have to ask ourselves, and Judah, get that headline ready to go from the Daily Tar Heel, the independent newspaper that covers UNC. You should have seen the headline, and we have it on Facebook, Instagram Live. We'll put it on Facebook, I Love CVille, or my personal Facebook, where we're live streaming now. But it's a fabulous headline. We'll get to that in a matter of moments. Here's the question we have to ask ourselves. What is going to happen? How will the remaining colleges that are trying to do some kind of in-person education be influenced by what has happened at UNC? We've had a similar outbreak at Notre Dame. We've had a similar outbreak at Oklahoma State. Jim Ryan and the University of Virginia would like students to return to grounds in less than a month. Okay? How is an outbreak at Chapel Hill going to impact the plans for an ACC football season? That's a legitimate question that I have for you guys. Will this outbreak at UNC that happened like that influence fall football and the plans to have fall football? Now, Judah, and everybody that's watching on Facebook, I want you to look at the screen now. Do you have the newspaper shot? The headline from the print edition of the Daily Tar Heel? I'm talking to Judah Wickhauer, our director. Can you put that on screen? Judah? All right, it's on screen. What I'm going to do, Instagram Live, so it's on screen now on Facebook. I'm going to get out of the way. You're going to see it behind me on this screen here. And when you do see it, you're going to see a headline. Okay, it's got the F word in it. You know, we've tried to take profanities. There it is. You see it right here, guys. Look at the screen. I thought it was a fabulous headline. That was so apropos. Daily Tar Heel, right there. You see it Instagram Live? UNC has a cluster on its hands. And I didn't use the word. So Daily Tar Heel, the independent newspaper that is not funded by the school, really just going toe-to-toe with the administration at Chapel Hill saying, you guys, what did you think was going to happen? So this is the question we have to ask ourselves. Here's the question. Will pods, will the outbreak of COVID at Chapel Hill have influence on other schools, and will the outbreak of COVID in Chapel Hill impact the opportunity or the chances of playing football this fall? It's fair, it's accurate. We'll talk more fall football this fall as we talk Virginia Tech launching a GoFundMe. You heard me correctly. Virginia Tech has launched a GoFundMe campaign to help save its athletic department. You think that's hilarious. The crazy thing is the University of Virginia also has one. Those stories coming up on the I Love CVille show. But let's go to our next headline, and it's pods coming at the Greenbrier Neighborhood. Judah, let's get that on screen and give me the thumbs up when it is on screen. So this is from CVille Tomorrow. CVille Tomorrow did a story talking about parents meeting guys at a park this past weekend. And the parents met at the park to form the basis for pod education for the Greenbrier Neighborhood, roughly 10 kids. So you're seeing these sprouting. And Judah, do you have that on screen? The headline from CVille Tomorrow? Okay, that's on screen. Guys, look at it there. You're starting to see more and more of these sprout up. So I'm highlighting this to bring it to your attention. You guys see it on screen behind me. City parents explore small in-person group learning pods for students this fall. This right here is a mom and an offspring and a kid outside Greenbrier. So I think this is going to be much more impactful, this type of learning, than anyone ever anticipated. And I think these are going to be, in some ways, the democratization of education, meaning it is going to be more approachable and affordable to the masses as opposed to private school. And it offers less of the concerns of learning in the kitchen virtually, because at least you're around kids. So here we see the Greenbrier Neighborhood going really strong from the pod situation. We know it's going strong in Glenmore. We know it's going strong in Redfields. We know it's going strong in a lot of portions of the city in Albemarle County. We'll continue to cover it and offer the spotlight here on the I Love CVille show. The next headline is one that I was a little surprised by. This is the Starbucks headline, and give me the thumbs up when that's up there. Boys and girls, Starbucks in Shoppers World on Route 29, they have now gotten approval from the Albemarle County Architectural Review Board by a 4-0 vote. You see it on screen behind me, Instagram Live. This is the one on Route 29, Shoppers World. They have now gotten approval from the Architectural Review Board of Albemarle County to add a drive-through to this location. So if you follow metrics like which eateries do the most business in the city in Albemarle County, I love stats like this, you see that the ones that are dominating the top 5 all have drive-thrus. The Chick-fil-A on Route 29 and the Chick-fil-A on Pantops, those places are filled with customers and a zoo, but both locations manage it very well. Those are the top 2 restaurants in the city of Charlottesville and Albemarle County from a revenues production standpoint. Chick-fil-A, Pantops, Chick-fil-A by Lowe's on Route 29. Those are 1 and 2. No secret, both have a drive-thru. In fact, Chick-fil-A has optimized its drive-thru so much that it has attendants working outside in the drive-thru and multiple lanes of its drive-thru. The two other businesses in the top 5, or one other business has 2 in the top 5, and that's Starbucks. Have you seen the traffic at the Starbucks on Pantops? It is ridiculous. The one on Pantops at times can pour out of the parking lot and into the giant shopping center or down the road around Starbucks. And have you been to the Starbucks on 5th Street, the new one by the Holiday Inn? It's got a very unique and odd wraparound drive-thru at that location. So Starbucks, a market leader, and we'll continue with Starbucks for a couple more minutes before we analyze Charlottesville's restaurants from a drive-thru situation and the advantages they have with drive-thru. So Starbucks has 2 of the top 5 spots from a gross revenue standpoint for restaurants producing. Starbucks, a global brand, prioritizing this method of business. Of course they are. It's perfect for COVID. People don't want to go inside. They want the food brought out to them. That's what a drive-thru is all about. They're going to get another one on Route 29 in Shoppers World. And it got me thinking, well, guys, when Chick-fil-A opens its location in Barracks Road, Chick-fil-A is opening a 3rd location in the old Burger King spot in Barracks Road. So Chick-fil-A is going to have Lowe's, the Chick-fil-A by Lowe's, the Chick-fil-A on Pantops, and the Chick-fil-A at Barracks Road, all strategically placed, all with drive-thrus. Chick-fil-A has 2 of them in one location, 2 drive-thrus in one location. Starbucks now has drive-thrus sprinkled all over the city in Albemarle County. Think about Bodo's Bagels. Let's localize it with Bodo's Bagels. Have you seen or experienced the mythology or the strategy behind Bodo's Bagels and its pivot, which is now offering drive-thru service? Have you noticed that Bodo's is always packed because of this drive-thru service? I mean, think about Panera Bread. Panera Bread, great coffee, great food, locally owned business. Literally, the Paneras in this area owned by a family locally in Charlottesville. Panera Bread busy because of their drive-thru. The priority of drive-thru in a COVID landscape is literally off the charts and in some cases the most important aspect of being a restaurant now. That is crazy to say. That is crazy to say. The most important aspect of being a restaurant right now is your point of sale at curbside or your point of sale at drive-thru. And the ones that are having the most success from a revenue standpoint all have dynamic drive-thrus. And Starbucks just got another one in Shoppers World. Just look around. Fabio's on High Street. Look at what Fabio's on High Street is doing. Mike and Sazo. They essentially, in their parking lot, built a pop-up drive-thru. They have 2 people working outside. They have a system of how you enter the parking lot, pay, and pick up your food and leave. It is a quasi-drive-thru at Fabio's on High Street, where it's the best cheesesteak in Charlottesville and Albemarle County. Next headline, Judah Wickhauer. Judah Wickhauer is our fabulous director. Let's go to Bluegrass Grill and Devil's Backbone. Do you have that on screen? I'll get it on screen behind me too. I'll go to the Bluegrass Grill Facebook page so our friends on Instagram Live can see this. Give it a like and a share. Give it a like and a share on any of the platforms you're watching, Facebook, Instagram, soon Twitter, and LinkedIn Live here. So I'm going to the Bluegrass Grill Facebook page behind me. Judah, for those watching on Facebook, has it on screen now. Here's a message from Chrissy. Scott, our fabulous friend who's the attorney, the Esquire, the lawyer in Virginia Beach. He's a foodie. Guys, I would straight up say, Scott, I hope you are watching the show. And I really need you to help me pronounce your last name, Scott. It's spelled Scott, Ehrenworth. Scott, is it Renworth? EHRENWORTH. The biggest foodie in Charlottesville may be a lawyer from Virginia Beach that frequently visits our town because he loves the food so much. And it's this gentleman, Scott, who watches the show. He's a business owner. He's an Esquire. He routinely sends me news. And he said, Jerry, Chrissy at Bluegrass Grill and Bakery, the fabulous eatery that closed in the glass building, Chrissy is forming a partnership and is in the early stages of a joint venture with Devil's Backbone. And that's having each weekend the Bluegrass Grill have a pop-up at Devil's Backbone at base camp. It's awesome. It is awesome. Devil's Backbone gets one of the best breakfast purveyors and breakfast visionaries in Chrissy and the Bluegrass Grill team. And the Bluegrass Grill team gets reincarnated, the brand in some capacity, at a popular brewery with significant land for social distancing, ample opportunity to sit outside and enjoy food in a COVID landscape. It's beautiful. You see it behind me, Instagram lot. I'll read it to you. What a great weekend we had this past weekend at Devil's Backbone. We wanted to thank everyone who came out to support us, even in the rain. This is Chrissy talking from Bluegrass Grill. She says, it was amazing to see some of our friends and customers. We missed you. We missed doing this crazy restaurant thing. We'll be at Devil's Backbone every weekend. We're looking forward to seeing and serving you. How beautiful is that? So at a time when COVID has dampened our spirits, this is a glimmer of hope that we can cling to. I love it. Congratulations, and I hope it continues. The next headline, Judah Wickhauer, Stein Mart closing. So this is a big one. Tell me when that's on screen, please. So Stein Mart, the discount retailer, it has a location, Stein Mart, in the city of Charlottesville. Stein Mart closing all its locations, guys. 279 stores it has. You see it behind me. Stein Mart closing all locations, including 5 in Hampton Roads. This article from the Daily Press. So the Stein Mart on Route 29, and Judah, let's make sure we add it to the Charlottesville Empty Storefront Index. And in fact, let's get the photos from the Charlottesville Empty Storefront Index coming up on screen behind me, please. Stein Mart now an official addition to the Charlottesville Empty Storefront Index. And if you're noticing, you're seeing a lot of those empty storefronts popping up along Route 29. Are you seeing that? Jason's Deli, Charlottesville Empty Storefront. There's a lot of them on Route 29. Now Stein Mart, the discount retailer, and what's that shopping center called? Is it 29th Place? I think it's called 29th Place, right? Now the discount retailer Stein Mart closed, and it's doing all its stores. It filed for bankruptcy, and it's closing all its stores, including 5 in Hampton Roads. So that is more lost work, unfortunately, more lost jobs, and unfortunately, that is also more lost revenue for Albemarle County with its budget. Its budget gets impacted with these closings every time one of these closings happens. Stein Mart now closed. The $400 million Albemarle County needs every year to run its municipality. The county of Albemarle needs $400 million to run every year. The city of Charlottesville needs $200 million every year to run. Stein Mart closing and all these empty storefronts as part of the Charlottesville Empty Storefront Index impacts the budget and how teachers and schools get funded, and EMTs and police and firefighters, and how roads are upkept. So you can expect, if you live in the county or the city, for your real estate taxes to go up to make up for this budget deficit. You can also expect some new and creative forms of revenue to sprout. That's why you're seeing these slot machines, these casino slot machines popping up in gas stations or at the Shebeen or at Prime 109. I mean, the Dogwood at Lake Monticello has them. Wild Wolf Brewing Company has the slot machines. The governor allowed the slot machines as incremental revenue to make up for a budget deficit in the Commonwealth and in local municipalities. That's why I think, if I'm reading the tea leaves correctly, you're going to eventually see the legalization and the taxation of cannabis in the Commonwealth. It is new, incremental, taxable revenue that Virginia and its local municipalities can leverage. If you don't create new taxable revenue sources, you then have to tax your citizens more. So many would prefer new incremental sources. Stein Mart, Charlottesville Empty Storefront Index. You flipped through those photos for our Facebook fans, Judah?
I was. You want me to flip through again?
Yeah. I mean, the Empty Storefront Index is getting deep. I mean, you're probably looking at, guys, 10% vacancy at least on the downtown mall. And the downtown mall is accustomed to operating at a vacancy level of under 1%. You're well over 10% now. Iconic spots, downtown grill, vacant. I mean, iconic spots. 29, you're seeing in it as well. You're flipping through those on screen? All right, I'm going to go, so you guys see it on the big screen behind me. You'll see some of them. There's Bluegrass Grill from the glass building. That's the candy store on 4th Street that had a short shelf life. There's the downtown grill right there. I mean, that's a spot on the downtown mall. Well, I just want to see them get filled again. You know what I'm saying? Next headline, before we get to it, and I'm going to get to your comments. So here's your time. If you have comments or questions here, let me know on Instagram. And if you have comments or questions on Facebook, put them in the comment section on Facebook. I'll relay them in about 5 minutes on air. On Instagram right here, put the comments or questions on the live feed, and I'll ask them. So just put them in here on Instagram or Facebook, and we'll get to them. I'm going to let you know how you can save $288 on Ting Fiber Internet. If you use this link, iloveseville.ting.com, iloveseville.ting.com, you have literally the lowest price fiber internet possible. You get installation free in a free month. iloveseville.ting.com. All right, let's get to some comments. So put the comments in Instagram now or on the Facebook feed as well. Ray Cadell, the fabulous realtor, has this comment. I'm pretty darn sure, Ray Cadell says, there is a learning pod in my neighborhood in Carsbrook. There's also a lot of homeschool-led education in Carsbrook. And he says, the Fabio's drive-through plan and execution is only exceeded by their cheesesteak and pizza. Fabio's, and tag Mike and Sazo. Someone tell Mike and Sazo we're giving Fabio's props. Fabio's really responded well to COVID-19. Now, their business model was set up for success, not success, but pizza is, in a lot of ways, set up for delivery, carry out, takeout, right? Pizza holds well, it delivers well. You can go from the pizza place and take it to your house, and even if that trip takes 45 minutes, you're still going to get good food. They had a leg up over most sit-down restaurants. But these boys, Mike and Sazo, the guys that own Fabio's, they quickly put a pop-up tent, plexiglass all over for protection, had 2 of their team members outside fraternizing and interacting with the customers, handling payment, and then the food was dropped off at their window of the car. It was a beautiful thing. Chef Jabari has a comment. Ooh, I love Chef Jabari. I first met Chef Jabari at Restoration in Crozet, where he was the executive chef. Now I believe Chef Jabari is the executive chef at Farm Belt Kitchen. Correct me if I'm wrong there, Chef Jabari. So he's watching on Instagram Live, which is this tripod you see here with my phone. He says, if they want more businesses, there needs to be some startup grant money to help jumpstart those who can't get an SBA loan. He's 100% right. So I've been very critical of the Albemarle County Board of Supervisors and the Charlottesville City Council And it's been fair criticism because the leadership in the county and the leadership in the city, I feel like let small businesses, the SMBs, small and medium-sized businesses, down. The grant money that's coming out now came too little too late. We needed the grant money in the first 60, 90 days of the pandemic. Now the grant money's coming out in August, maybe some in late July. The businesses that are getting the grant money are the ones that were already going to survive and come out on the other side of this pandemic in the first place. So Chef Jabari, I appreciate you watching on Instagram Live. Your food is absolutely amazing. Oh, you're at Doubletree now on Route 29. Fantastic. I did not know that. I just learned something. Chef is at Doubletree on Route 29. Dude's got talent. New comment coming in. So this is coming in from Nashville. I like it. Jerry, I'm watching your show in Nashville. I really love catching up on Charlottesville, and we try to visit as much as we can. Certainly not as much as we did pre-COVID. Please offer perspective on ACC football and whether we're going to start this season or not, especially after the UNC outbreak. That's from Dan, who is watching in Nashville. I will get to that, Dan, in a matter of moments. Andre Xavier, I'll get to your perspective. Barbara Lundgren, I will get to your perspective. Instagram Live, wow, I will get to your perspective as well. Before I do, I want to highlight what I think the problems the ACC has to solve. And David Teel, you can get David Teel's column up from the Richmond Times-Dispatch. I'm putting it on screen behind me, and give me the thumbs up, Judah Wickhauer. David Teel and Instagram, you see it behind me. He outlines the hurdles that ACC has to clear to get through, to get to kickoff. So the season kicks off, boys and girls, on September 10th with Miami and Alabama Birmingham. ACC kicks off September 10th, Miami and Alabama Birmingham. So a lot of the schedule issues are, first off, a school like UVA doesn't even have a season opening opponent on its roster. The opener was VMI. VMI stopped playing football in the fall and postponed to the spring. So the Wahoos don't even have an opener. They don't have an opponent for their opener. Virginia Tech does have an opening opponent, and that's NC State. Another wrinkle that's entered the fold here is the Liberty football coach. Did you hear this story? We talked about this yesterday. The Liberty football coach said it's been 2 weeks since we've tested any of our football players in Lynchburg at Liberty University. And three teams from the ACC, Syracuse, Virginia Tech, and NC State, are all playing Liberty for their out-of-conference game this season, this fall. Now those 3 teams are going on record saying, whoa, what the hell's going on here? We may not play Liberty because they're not testing the players the right way. So the first hurdle we need to clear if we want to see fall football this fall is just to get a working schedule. UVA does not have a completed schedule yet. One of Virginia Tech's opponents, their football coach said to the media on the record, we haven't tested our players in 2 weeks. So first hurdle, get a working schedule. Second hurdle is how is the issues at UNC, which we're learning about yesterday and today with these COVID outbreaks, how is that going to impact fall football? Going immediately from in-person to virtual for all of school, but then asking, and check out this side panel over here, J-Dubs, but then asking the football players to play a game where you have to bleed and sweat and tackle each other and bleed on each other and sweat on each other, spit on each other, whatever else. I mean, that's part of football. How do you tell the students learn virtually, but football players tackle each other within the lines and play a game because it costs money, it makes us money? I mean, do you see what's happening? You have, and I want football more than anybody. I want football more than anybody. I love college football. I love tailgating. I love eating fried chicken, drinking bourbon, drinking cold beer, hanging with my family, going to football games. Football is good for Charlottesville. UVA football and Virginia Tech playing football are good for the Charlottesville and Blacksburg economies and the surrounding counties. They are good for our areas. But just think about this for 1 second. Please give me 1 second to think about this. The schools are asking their students to learn virtually because of fear of COVID, yet they're going to ask 100 people or 125 people with the coaches and the trainers to play a game where people have to tackle each other and sweat on each other and jump on each other because the game makes so much money for those schools. And take it a step further. The people that are playing this game, literally the talent, the players that are playing this game that makes the school $100 million a year, everything included, the people playing this game, they don't even get paid. They don't even get paid. So this is what the universities are asking. And I love football. And I'm not trying to poo-poo football. I love football. But this is what the universities are asking. They are saying, COVID is dangerous. Because COVID is dangerous, students need to learn virtually. Not from our schools, but virtually. We need to do this because COVID is scary and it can spread quickly. However, 100 people, 125 people, if you include the coaches and trainers, have to play this game within these lines in this season because it makes us money, and we need that money to sustain our school and our athletic department. And the people who have to play this game, we're not going to pay them. We're not going to give them any money. They have to do it for a scholarship, which is now virtual. I mean, do you see the hypocrisy? And how about the hypocrisy of canceling the NCAA, canceling NCAA championships? Yet, ACC football and the college football playoff system can happen because it's backed by money. That's hypocrisy. And that's 18 to 22-year-olds being exploited because they can run, jump, and hit and throw. It's funny. It's just COVID has made it an ironic. It's caused a lot of hypocrisies to be exposed. A lot of hypocrisies to be exposed. The next headlines from Nick Saban. And Nick Saban straight up said, guys, if we play football in the spring, that's going to be JV football. You got that on screen, Judah? That's on screen. Judah Whitcower. We got it on screen behind us here for the Instagram Live folks. He said, if we move football, Nick Saban, the head football coach at Alabama, if we move football to the spring, the prospects that have NFL talent that will be playing on Sundays will not play spring football, and then you are left with the second-rate talent, and it will be JV football. Nick Saban, arguably your most talented, successful, active football coach. Alabama, Roll Tide, JV football. I mean, he's right. If you're a first-round or second-round draft pick, why would you play a condensed schedule in the spring before the NFL draft and you're set to make millions of dollars and get set for life? You would not. You would choose not to play. We already have the top-tier talent choosing not to play in the bowl season to preserve their health for the NFL draft. Of course, the top-tier talent and even the tiers below that would not play in the spring. It would be JV college football, according to Nick Saban. The next headline, how about this one, guys? Mike Krzyzewski said on the record, we cannot have, and put it on screen, Judah, we cannot have an NCAA tournament get canceled again. The NCAA tournament is the number one moneymaker for the NCAA. The number one moneymaker. The cancellation of the 2020 NCAA tournament cost the NCAA $375 million. Worth repeating. over 90% of the revenue for the NCAA is generated by the NCAA men's basketball tournament. And the cancellation of this past year's tournament when COVID first started, which literally was a dagger in our hearts, a kick in the cojones when the NCAA tournament got canceled. That cancellation cost the organization $375 million. And Krzyzewski said if we cancel the NCAA tournament one more time, we risk the NCAA going bankrupt. Read it online. Calipari, the men's basketball coach at Kentucky, is now saying we need to get the pods that the NBA is using for its playoffs. It's having great success with the pods. We need to roll those out now for men's basketball if we have any hope of saving the season. Calipari is saying that. University of Kentucky. It's getting Darwinistic out there. And you want to know how survival of the fittest? How about the Virginia Tech headline, Judah? Get that on screen and give me the thumbs up, please, sir. Virginia Tech just launched a GoFundMe campaign. Instagram Live, I'm putting it on behind me. Keep Jumping is what the campaign is called. The Keep Jumping campaign basically allows you to spend in $100 increments for futures, stuff that you can use in the future. And Virginia Tech's athletic department is straight up saying in this campaign, we have at minimum a $50 million deficit for our athletic department. $50 million deficit for our athletic department, minimum right now. So please, they're begging for Hokie Nation to donate in $100 increments for something that they can use in the future, including prioritized points for seeding. It is Darwinistic out there when the UVA athletic department and the Virginia Tech athletic department are rolling out GoFundMe campaigns where they're begging for working capital to fund their scholarships and to keep their lights on. You know it is a Darwinistic survival of the fittest world. Brian Yeager. I love Brian Yeager. Brian Yeager's watching right now. Brian Yeager, St. Anne's Bellefield's finest, one of the best baseball players to matriculate from St. Anne's Bellefield. Alan Swanson is proud of Brian Yeager. I love Alan Swanson too. Brian Yeager says, the bubble path works. It does work. We need to roll out the bubbles now if we're going to save men's basketball. Brian Yeager, I love you. That's it for me in today's show. Instagram Live, we will have a lot more of you here on the show. We're not only streaming to you and the 12,000 plus followers on the I Love CVille Instagram, but we're streaming on 5 different Facebook channels at the same time to YouTube. We're also archiving the show on Spotify now, on iTunes, on Apple Podcasts, of course on ilovecville.com. You can get the fastest and the best internet possible through this link, ilovecville.ting.com, ilovecville.ting.com, and you can save $288 on fiber internet, guys. Dude, it is so fast. It allows you to do this. $288 on fiber you're saving. I mean, it's amazing. Only through that link. Miller's Minute coming up by Scott Wagner. Hold for that thought. We're going to introduce maybe today at 5 o'clock a condensed version of headlines. So the plan would be at 5 o'clock each day, we give you 5 minutes or less of headlines for your daily news briefing. And then that's how you can get all your knowledge in a 5-minute segment. So more on that on the I Love CVille network as we're expanding and booming this network. Miller's Minute is powered by Scott Widener Chiropractic and Sports Medicine, Judah Wickauer. Scott Widener Chiropractic and Sports Medicine, literally changing people's lives through sports medicine, physical therapy, and chiropractic care. That's Scott Wagner Chiropractic and Sports Medicine. The final 60 seconds of this show comes from the real estate market. I learned this morning on Real Talk, an insider's guide to real estate, that the city of Charlottesville is gangbusters yet again with its real estate market. You have less than 20 homes on the market as of August 1. Of those 20 homes, many are going under contract in less than 24 hours. The cost for rent, the monthly rent in this city, is often higher than a mortgage payment for a starter home. If you're looking to make a decision that's going to change your life for the better, get in a piece of ownership in Charlottesville, Albemarle County, or one of the surrounding counties, and you will look back and reflect on it. That was when I started changing my earnings and my opportunity and my future. Generational wealth. This is the I Love CVille show. Thank you, Instagram. Thank you, Facebook. It's good to connect with you.